As has been true too many times before, I held and hugged grieving family members and parents, and they asked, why does this keep happening? And they pleaded that we do more to stop the carnage.
As mass shootings capture the national spotlight with more frequency, U.S. public schools have become a testing ground for new policies aimed at curbing violent outbursts. Some public school districts have developed complex lockdown policies and evacuation procedures. Others have toyed with the idea of arming teachers, administrators, and even students. Many lawmakers have advocated for stricter gun control regulation or more extensive mental health services as a way to prevent these events from happening in the first place. Yet some experts are pushing for a different solution, one they say can get to the root of violent outbursts. It involves teaching students empathy in school.
Okay, do you see, is it easy for Ricardo to walk in those shoes?
No,
Those big shoes.
they're too heavy.
They're heavy? And what else do you think, Ricardo? Does it feel weird to walk in those shoes? Okay, raise a quiet hand if someone close to you has passed away. Okay? So if someone else happened, that happened to someone else, that's what empathy is. It's being able to feel and see, Xavier, how someone else feels. Okay?
Social emotional learning, or SEL, the teaching of social and emotional life skills, has been growing rapidly in education around the world in the last 2 decades. But in recent years, the approach has gotten some of the greatest traction in school districts, in part as a response to the perceived growth in violent outbreaks. Mark Collin has pioneered one such social emotional learning program in Northern California called Toolbox.
When we think of mass shootings or we think of people that are wanting to do harm to others, many times some of the factors are that these are people that have been bullied themselves. They're people that are isolated. They're people that have been bullied at home or been abused at home. They've been traumatized in some way.
2 years ago, Collin partnered with Sandy Hook Promise, a group formed in response to the Newtown, Connecticut school shooting in 2012, which killed 20 elementary school children.
Children aren't born that way. That's a learned behavior. Violence is a learned behavior. It's a way of coping with their own pain. It's all preventable by making these interventions that we're talking about here. What SEL is about how to bring people and kids out of isolation, how to really make assessments of who is feeling isolated, and addressing that at a classroom level, and a school level, and a community level. And SEL is really the answer to that.
The program, already in place at several schools around the country, uses a series of easy-to-remember tools to promote resilience, self-mastery, and empathy. Coronado Elementary School in Richmond, California, a city that historically has had some of the highest rates of violent crime in the country, has been using the program for 5 years.
Initially, I was skeptical about using Toolbox because I am a person that believes in whatever circumstances you're going through, you still have to face the world. So for me, saying, have empathy and actually teaching that in the classroom was a different thing. Because I'm like, huh? But then it became something that I used and noticed that it helped the kids. And it helped them become what I needed them to be. It helped them speak for themselves. It helped them function in ways that I didn't think they would.
I use multiple techniques because it's different situations that happen. And it's like the garbage can tool. If somebody talking to me, I throw it away. Just leave it alone how it is. Like my breathing tool. If I'm mad, just take a couple of breaths, calm down, and use my words.
Someone tell me, how do you feel if someone says they hate you? How does that feel to you? Someone, raise your hand. Kamara, how does that feel when someone says they hate you? Bad.
Social emotional learning isn't without controversy. Critics argue that the programs haven't been properly evaluated, and they want to put the brakes on expanding SEL until new studies can be completed. Some teachers contend that the programs have limited impact and use up valuable resources. Still others allege that SEL programs are being manipulated by school reformers who are downplaying more systemic barriers to education like poverty. But the staff and students at Coronado are all in.
You can't say enough how important it is to have empathy for other people, because if you can put yourself in the mindset of someone else and you remember a time when you were hurt, like I give the kids, I tell them that as a child I was called ugly face, and the kids look at me like, ah, they said that to you? And I said, I remember that. I'm an old lady, I still remember that. But I think about that, I would never say that to another person, because I know how badly I felt, and it gives the kids that sort of empathy, that before they say something mean or cruel, they think, oh wow, somebody said something like that to me, I didn't like that at all.
Xavier. Oh. So remind yourself, what does it mean to check in? Check in with your check in with your mind. Check in with your heart. And check in with your body.